Hello! Welcome back to another episode of Truth Seekers Radio. I'm your host, Dr. Kenny Williamson, and today we're going to be talking about algae. If you haven't heard about algae in the news here recently, I'm surprised. But you probably know what algae is, right? As we all do. So we're going to talk about algae. But before we talk about algae, I'm going to let you know that if you're watching this on video form, you'll notice that I'm wearing a Truth Seekers Radio podcast shirt. And this shirt here has got the logo on it that was my old original, right here it is, McKill's Deck Chronicles podcast logo. A lot of people like this logo. I've got these on shirts. I've also got this version, which is here, right here on the screen. I've got this version. I've got the alien one, and then I've got a flat earth one over here. I've got three of those up on the screen if you can see it. I am going to be printing those on t-shirts and selling those at the TrutherCon that's coming up in Dallas in November. I'm going to attend that one. I attended last year's. I'm going to go to this one again. But this year I'm going to be a vendor. So I'm going to have t-shirts, books, and stickers for sale. And that is just a way to try to recoup, some of the money from going down there. It's not a money-making deal by any means. It's very expensive to get all this stuff printed and made and the books printed. And hopefully I'll just break even and it maybe even pay for the trip. I don't know. But anyway, if you're interested and you want one of these shirts and you do not plan on going to TrutherCon, what I'm going to do is, and hopefully this doesn't backfire in my face. I don't think it will. I think it'll work out good. If you want one of these shirts, you need to email me. Give me an email at truthseekers2012@gmail.com. Okay, truthseekers2012@gmail.com. And you can get that address on any of these websites too. You can fill out the, go in there and fill out the little contact form, and it will ask you the information and it sends it to that email address. So you can do the same thing there if you want. Okay. So what you'll need to tell me is your size. Right now I have medium, large, and extra large, and they're a Gildan tee. They're 100% cotton. Okay. I can either put the logo, either one of these logos, on the front or the back. If you want it on the back, which is what I do, which is what I'm going to do for the TrutherCon, it's going to have the big logo on the back and a 4-inch logo up here like this right here on the front, like right here. But if you want to order one through email and say, hey, I want the logo on the front, or I want this, or I want that, and so far I've only got black shirts, and I've only got medium, large, and extra large. Email me, tell me what you want, and then I think with shipping and everything, probably $25 would be pretty fair, because I think that, shipping is probably going to cost between $5 or $8, and then I've got the shirt and the printing in it. So yeah, you can go to the bottom of the website, either truthseekersradio.com, truthseekersministry.org, that takes you to the same place, kennywilliamson.com, all three of those take you to the same place, or it's flatbro.com, and at the bottom of any of those is a link to two different forms of payment. You could either do Venmo or Cash App. Okay, those are real simple. Scan a code. Of course, you do that, you just hit pay me. And then, of course, in the info or whatever, you put your name, maybe your address, what size or whatever you want, just kind of a note in there so I know, and I will mail it to you. Okay? So if you're interested and you want one, you can get one. So, or you can go to the TrutherCon and I'll be selling them there. So, having said that, let's get back to algae. Okay, here, let's see here. if you're unaware what's been going on here recently, we've had the reflecting pool over there in Washington, D.C. This pool has been around, I think, since World War II. It's been in lots of movies. It's in all the movies. It's in Forrest Gump, right? Forrest Gump, and all the people from Vietnam are standing around there from the war, and his girlfriend runs through the reflecting pool, and he runs out there to meet her. That's the reflecting pool, right? So this reflecting pool has been around for a long time. Now, it's in the news right now because supposedly it's being vandalized. So what's happened is Trump, got into office. He came in and he said this reflecting pool is nasty. It's filthy. It's nasty. It's full of algae and nobody can do anything about it. I'm going to fix it. So he has reportedly spent like 13 to 15 million, depending on how much where you read. Supposedly it was going to be 2 million, and then it went to 13 and possibly 15. They came in, they drained the pool, they cleaned the pool. I guess maybe they stripped the stuff off the bottom, and then they resealed and painted the pool. And they painted it a deep, dark navy blue, which has to do with the American flag, the color on the American flag. So you can see pictures of this thing after it was complete. And within 2 or 3 days, it started kind of turning green. And then within a week, this thing has got algae floating in it everywhere. Now, according to Trump, he fixed this thing, and it's been vandalized. If you listen to the radio, depending on which station you listen to, you're either going to hear one of two things. You're either going to hear that there are lunatic liberal lefties out there vandalizing the pool. They've ripped holes in this brand new liner, and they're dumping algae into it. If you listen to the other station, they're going to say that Trump didn't do it right. The dark color is what's caused the algae to grow. And then on top of that, he drove a motorcade through this thing, which probably ripped holes in the liner. And it's all his fault. And he's wasted way too much money on it, and it's ridiculous, and we want our money back, right? Even though let's just say 15 million, that is a drop in the bucket compared to what they're spending in all these other places, like in Minneapolis, on fake, in California and others on these fake learning centers. They're spending billions on that I'd like to have money back. But now we're focused on 13 million or 15 million. So, how long has this been going on, you ask? Well, it's been going on for years. This is not a new thing, okay? Presidents messing around with this pool is not a new thing. So, for example, I found, and it's, oops, don't want to play it just yet. This is a CNN news thing here. And I'll try to make it bigger where you can see it, and I'll have it where you can definitely hear it. I'm going to share this here in a second. See if I can get it to where it'll work a little better. Unknown. This thing's kind of unknown. Make it bigger. See if I can make it bigger. Well, it's too big. If I do that, then I can't see. Okay, so I'm gonna let you listen to this. This is under Obama. When Obama was president, this pool was also absolutely disgusting and full of algae. CNN didn't seem to bother then, or didn't seem to mind as much. But he did spend 30 to 36 million on this thing, trying to do the same thing. So let's listen to it. Let me share the screen so you can see it and hear this. Listen. It's about 2 minutes long.
There's plenty to take pictures of in downtown Washington, D.C. The Lincoln Memorial, the World War II Memorial, and then there's this. Folks snapping photos of the reflecting pool.
It's really sludgy up this end.
And what's in it?
It's disgusting. It's not right.
Algae.
It smells like wet dog down here, When my dog came home from a stream, he always smelled like this, so it's gross.
The Lincoln Memorial Reflecting Pool reopened at the end of August to great fanfare after a $34 million renovation that lasted nearly 2 years. But less than a month later, the famous pool of water is full of algae. Algae are simple organisms that thrive in areas where there is heat and sunlight. You have plenty of that here.
The water may not look great, but it doesn't pose a health or safety hazard. It's really just the yuck factor.
If it's sunny, if it's really warm, it will rise to the top. So on some days, depending on the weather, you will see algae at the top, and it looks like small islands of algae.
But why has algae suddenly become a problem? The reflecting pool was renovated to fix cracks and leaks, but it also included installing a system to draw water from the nearby tidal basin into the pool instead of using city drinking water. Algae naturally grows in the tidal basin. Plus, the renovated pool holds less water. That shallow depth is a perfect condition for algae to grow, a bit of an embarrassment for the Park Service.
It's really a shame that they hadn't planned out this a little bit better so you wouldn't have algae growing after all this time and money.
So for the National Park Service, it's cleanup time.
The filtering system is taking out a lot of it, but there is, as I say, we were surprised by the magnitude of the algae, so we're going to have to actually manually remove some of the algae.
The Park Service won't use chemicals because the reflecting pool water can flow back into the tidal basin. A park spokeswoman says they're adjusting the ozone levels to correct the problem. But in the meantime, the reflecting pool is not reflecting.
It's nasty.
Much of it.
Okay, so there you have it. The reflecting pool is not reflecting much of anything, she said. This was September 26th of 2012, according to this little news deal here. So this has been going on for years. But to sum this whole thing up, you know, they did all that stuff on there. And the thing is, the problem with this thing is it's not like a swimming pool. You know, a commercial swimming pool, let's say, which is probably how this thing should be treated, it's got chemicals in it. It's got bleach in it, chlorine or salt. Salt, that's a lot of them are now are salt water. That keeps all this stuff from happening. And of course they've got ozone, but it runs it through and it filters and it cleans it and it's constantly filtering and cleaning it. And you've got to keep up with the chemicals. This one, however, is drawing water from outside source called a tidal basin. Okay? So, if you're asking, what is the tidal basin? Well, according to the research I've come across here, the tidal basin over there is a man-made reservoir in Washington, D.C., located just south of the National Mall. Now, according to this, it says it's not directly connected to the Lincoln Memorial Reflecting Pool, but that's false. Now, you just heard that the pool gets its water from the tidal basin. So if it's getting its water from the tidal basin, and when it drains into the tidal basin, that means it's connected somehow, right? Because getting its water from there, we've already heard that. We heard that from the news. Okay, the purpose of this tidal basin to begin with, it helps control flooding in the Potomac River and provides a scenic waterfront. It's famous for the cherry blossom trees that bloom around its edges every spring. Okay, yada, yada, yada. The size of it's 107 acres with a depth this varies, but it's generally very shallow. So this thing is an overflow for the river. And it is connected to this. It is connected to this deal now. It may not have used to have been, but it is now. And they'll even admit that that's why they can't put chemicals in this reflecting pool, is because it goes into this tidal basin. And they didn't want to use city water to fill the pool, so they pulled it from the tidal basin. So water's going back and forth between these two. Okay, so they fill this thing from this tidal basin. Well, the tidal basin is basically 107 acres, like it says here, of just water, and it actually takes stuff from the river. So the thing's full of algae. In other words, it's full of sludge, algae, bacteria, the whole 9 yards. It's like river water, okay, or pond water. Now, if you know anything, like out here in Arkansas, okay, you can't be drinking or messing around. You can swim in it, But you can't be drinking river water or creek water or pond water or lake water for that matter. I mean, it's full of microbes, algae, bacteria. It will probably kill you. So you can't do it. You get sick as a dog, minimum, right? So that's where they're getting the water for this thing. In Obama's time, as you saw, they had the exact same problem. So this is not a new problem, in other words. It's an old problem. It's a problem that has never went away. So now, what we're hearing is that these problems are caused because this thing was painted dark blue. Well, it wasn't painted dark blue when it happened to Obama, but yet it was full of algae then, and it's full of algae now. So I don't think the color has as much to do with it as the fact is where you're getting the water, and you're not filtering or doing the water right because you're worried about it going back in that tidal basin. Right? So it's not an enclosed system like a giant Olympic-sized swimming pool here that you can keep crystal clear. So that's your first issue. This would be like going to the lake out here and saying, we wanted the lake to be crystal clear, so we don't want any algae growing in it. How are we going to prevent that? How are you going to prevent it if you can't put chemicals in it? It doesn't make any sense. So they've got videos, of course, of them now putting hydrogen peroxide in it to supposedly try to kill the algae. And of course, they're also trying to infuse the water with ozone. Yeah, how you're doing that with water that's going in and out, sharing water that comes out of the river, out of a basin that shares it with the river, you're never going to get anywhere. I mean, it's a never-ending, never going to work deal. Because about the time you get it freshened up, you'll get a rain or something, and water will go back and forth, and you're done again. It's just no point. Okay? So anyway, so that's where we're at now. So according to Trump now, this has all happened because lunatic left and people with Trump derangement syndrome have vandalized it. Okay? Now, we already know it's been a problem. It was a problem for Obama, and nobody ever was mentioned vandalizing it then. This is a common problem. It's never going to go away with the system they're trying to use. But now we have Trump in office, and he says, well, I fixed it. And the reason it's full of algae is because of vandalism. Okay? So, I don't know if you can believe that or not, but one of the news sources here, and I'll share this here with you, the picture. Let me get to it. Yeah, here it is. This is a picture of algae in a grow light of some kind, and it says the FBI raided a storage unit in D.C. tied to Antifa and recovered 6 kinds of aggressive algae, 5 paint-stripping peptides, and a small but significant-sized ultrasonic grow lab. I don't know if that's true or not, but they're trying to claim, here's what they're claiming. Antifa or somebody is growing algae in a storage unit. And they are literally taking this algae, this green water, and dumping it into the reflecting pool, and that's what's caused all our problems. And they've also got paint stripping peptides. So they're saying all the blue paint that's flecking up, there's flecks of paint everywhere on the grass, there's pictures of it, and big chunks of it floating to the top. They're saying that's because somebody dumped in paint stripping peptides. I don't know if that's true or not. Maybe this stuff's just peeling up. They're claiming that there's like a 250-foot long gash put in this thing, that somebody's went in there and purposely cut the liner, which has caused the water to get under it and is making it lift and break off. So now what we have is videos of people going in there, sticking their hands in the water, and they're immediately getting arrested. So there's several people been arrested to this point so far that they are claiming are vandalizing the pool. And I saw one, and it was a lady, and I don't know who she voted for. I have no idea. You know, but she's bent down, she's looking in the water, she has her phone, and she takes a picture, and she sticks her hand down what appears to be in the water and takes a picture. Well, she's immediately detained. And, I mean, they get the police over there. They've got some kind of National Guard or some kind of military over there questioning her. They make her sit down. I don't know if she got arrested or not, but the article says that if you vandalize the pool, you will be arrested and you'll be charged. So I don't, was she vandalizing or was she just trying to take a picture of it? I don't know. And supposedly there was some other guy stuck his hand in the pool. He's a canoe guy, some kind of world record guy. They said he was vandalizing the liner in the pool. He says he just stuck his hand in the pool because there was a big piece floating up and he wanted to see what it felt like. That's all. I don't know. But he got arrested. And I guess being charged with it. So, is this really... I don't know. Is this one of those deals where it's like, okay, I've spent a bunch of money on the pool. I'm telling everybody how nice the pool can be. The pool reverted right back to what the pool's always been, no matter how much money you spend on it because of where you're getting your water, right? I mean, you don't have good, clean water here. You've got filthy water out of basically a river. And then you wonder why it's filled up with sludge and algae within a week, within a month. Right? So I think there's a high probability that these pictures like this with a bunch of algae in bags, perfectly sealed bags with green water in it, bubbling, and claiming that these are aggressive algae. I don't know. It kind of reminds me of some of these other false flag things you see, where somebody supposedly goes in and they're doing something they're not supposed to be doing, right? Supposedly. And it's like, well, this guy here did it, even though he didn't do it. But then they go into his apartment and there's just stuff sitting around everywhere, stuff that you would never see in a million years. Same kind of deal, different situation, but somebody's always to blame for this stuff. I don't know. To me, it sounds so wild that you would have anybody trying to grow algae. Okay? Grow algae in a storage unit. And their goal is to dump a bag or a container of algae into the reflecting pool to make it get algae in it. I mean, that seems really lame to me. I mean, after all the stuff you could do, if you're wanting to tear something up and really cause some damage and cause the government to have to spend some money, your whole entire plan is dumping a gallon of algae water into a giant pool that's already getting its water from the tidal basin, that's getting its water from the river. Seriously? I mean, I don't know. I just don't know. Let's believe it. It's just so wild to me. I mean, it looks to me like you'd be, I don't know, trying to tear down some of those flock cameras around there or spray painting them or I don't know. Anything? But no, we're according to the FBI, people are trying to put algae. And this isn't just, I mean, I heard it on the radio this morning on the way to work. They're talking about the Trump derangement syndrome people that are vandalizing the pool, just trying to see Trump fail. And they are literally dumping algae into it. It's like, well, I tell you what, if these guys had a brain in their head, they know they don't need to dump algae in it. The algae's already there. It came right from the tidal basin where they got the water from. Filthy, dirty river water. Okay. And I think it's over there somewhere. The river is full of raw sewage as well. So it's going into the basin and then the basin's going in it. What do you think's going to be growing in there? I tell you what, I wouldn't be sticking my hands in there. The water's filthy. It's probably full of sewage as well. Think about it. Okay. That's the kind of stuff that's going on over there. But my advice to you is, I don't care who you voted for. I don't care what you believe. If you just happen to be in that area, don't go sticking your hand in the water because they're going to try to claim you tore it up. So whether or not it's, the stuff's flaking up because of the peroxide that was supposedly put in there, or maybe the stuff just didn't stick. I don't know. I mean, you get a paint job on something like a concrete and put water in it, it may not stick, right? I mean, I've seen that. I've seen a lot of paint peeling in a lot of places, and it wasn't vandalism. It's just paint don't stick very well. So, having said all that, do we really have a national type deal here? A conspiracy, if you will. Of course, I'm a conspiracy theorist, right? But do we really have this big conspiracy to vandalize the pool? Or is it just happening naturally? Well, based on what I'm reading from previous presidents, that was made no big deal. They spent the money and the exact same thing happened to them. And nobody was vandalizing Obama, right? How could you? Okay. But let me read a couple of things what he did, okay? In his project, because you watched the video, you heard the video, but some of the stuff was structural repairs. It was workers installed 1,200 timber. To me, this is bizarre. I can't imagine putting timber anywhere, but whatever. 1,200 timber and concrete pilings to prevent the pool from sinking into the marshy ground. The bottom of the pool was reinforced and the water depth was made shallower to conserve water. A new water treatment and filtration system was installed to combat the persistent algae blooms, according to Time magazine. Now, how you're going to filter and treat it when it's going back into a tidal deal, I don't understand that. It doesn't make any sense to me. And so it says, despite these, according to NPR, despite these massive upgrades, issues with water loss and algae continued, leading to subsequent repair efforts in the years that followed. Bottom line, what it boils down to is nothing changed. They spent $36 million on it. Within a month, it was packed full of algae again. Donald Trump just spent $15 million on it. Within 3 or 4 days, it's packed full of algae again. So apparently it doesn't matter who's the president. It doesn't matter what color it is, right? If the thing's painted blue or gray, it doesn't matter who filled it up and who repainted it. Doesn't matter how long it took. It took Obama 2 years. Within a month, it's packed full of algae again. So nothing's changed. So do we really have people out there tearing it up? I'm sure somebody probably reached in there and pulled on it and was like, I got me a piece of the pool. I don't know. Is that what tore it up? I doubt it. To me, this just seems like another one of those, hey, I'm going to point my finger at somebody else. I spent a bunch of money to fix it. I wanted it fixed. It's not fixed. People are making fun of me, so I'm going to blame it on somebody else. That's what I think's happening. I don't know. And if that's the case, it's just another one of those, it's just another government deal, okay? It doesn't matter if it's a pool. It doesn't matter what it is. Somebody else is to blame, and all of a sudden you find a bunch of proof, FBI all of a sudden shows up, and there's an algae, somebody producing algae in a storage unit across the street. Okay. Sure they are. Out of all the things you could do to vandalize or disrupt or tear up or whatever you're going to do, you're going to use some algae water. Maybe. I don't know. It's hard for me to believe that. But according to the news, as of earlier today, an hour ago, I guess, and today's June 23rd, 2026, according to this, Trump is closing the pool now with fences. It's being fenced off, and he's also deploying AI surveillance to guard the pool to stop vandalism. So, hey, we're going all out with this vandalism deal. According to him, it's being vandalized, and they're fencing it off again. So I don't know if they're going to go in and clean it again. I don't know what they're going to do. I've seen videos where they've got the Park Service out there like vacuuming it. They're just constantly vacuuming, trying to vacuum it up. And he's trying to get this thing supposedly clean for July 4th. To me, that stuff means nothing. But, to these guys out here, it's a big deal. So we've got to get this water crystal clear for July 4th. Well, if all the paint's already peeled off the bottom and it's all floating to the top, sounds to me like it's going to be a mess. I don't know how you're going to fix it. You'd have to drain it and redo the whole thing again. But anyway, supposedly they're trying to get this thing done for July 4th, so it's closed again. I personally think it's a waste of time and money. I think there's a lot of other things you could be reporting on if you were the news other than this. And, we've got people getting killed in the streets. We've got fraud like you wouldn't believe. The taxes are outrageous. And we're worried about a pool, a body of water over there in front of the Lincoln Memorial. As if it makes any difference. But you let me know what you think on that deal. I mean, if you think this is really important, do you really think that it's being vandalized like they say? Or do you think that it's the same old algae, it's the same old situation that we've had for years and years and years? In fact, it was going on in 2012. How many years ago was that? 10, 22 to 3 to 4 to 5 to 6, 14 years ago? Nothing's changed in 14 years. And you tell me. Tell me what you think. Anyway, now, according to this also, of course, Nick Sorter reported this, and you can see the people out there, vacuuming it like a pool vacuum, people all around it. It says that while they're doing this, they're being constantly harassed, heckled, and abused by leftists. So, but it says, but they continue to work around the clock. Now, I do believe there's a bunch of lunatics over there yelling at these people. I'm sure they are, and maybe they did dump. Maybe they are vandalizing it. I don't know. Maybe. I just don't know. I mean, there's a bunch of idiots out there. There are a bunch of lunatic left out there, and they may even actually be trying to do this. I personally don't see what the point is, but I don't know. You let me know what you think. I'm going to let you go. Typical Arkansas weather down here. Expecting a bunch of storms again tonight. That's all we have is storms and rain now, seems like. There's no such thing as weather modification, though. Remember that. It's all natural around here. Anyway, thanks for listening. As always, you're not guaranteed another heartbeat. You're not guaranteed another breath. Get saved before it's too late. Saved by grace, by faith. Jesus Christ is the only way to get that done. So if you have any questions on that, give me an email, whatever. Thanks for listening. Please tune in again. Like, share it. We're all over the place. We'll kind of keep it going. Thanks for listening. Until we meet again, God bless you.